Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So in today's video I am going to do my greenhouse tour for April. So as it's the last day of April I thought I'd better get it done, and we've just started to get some rain, which is great because I feel like of all of April we've had like hardly no rain at all. So great that the rain's finally here. Hopefully it will stay because everything's so dry and I need the water as well for obviously the carnivorous plants. So I'll be doing my greenhouse tour, and as you can probably see already from the Sarracenia, I've got a lot to update. In terms of the flowers, most of them are almost open as the petals are almost about to come out any day now, and I've got a lot of other updates with all of my Drosera that are looking great, and same with the Venus flytraps. Everything's started to put on new growth now compared to last month's video, and I think it would just be a nice kind of update. So as you can see from the Sarracenia flowers, a lot of them are a lot shorter than they were last year. So this Linda here is a 6 rhizome plant and has now got 3 flowers this year compared to the one that it had last year. And the flowers are incredibly short compared to last year. Last year they were double, maybe even taller than that. They were about 63 centimetres, the same as the Asian Slack's Maxima tallest trap. And this year, because of the cold and all the frost that we've had, you can see that all the flowers have kind of been affected. So it hopefully won't affect any of the actual flower productivity, but has affected the height, so they won't get much taller than this after they've started bending over. But I'm still really happy that I've got this many flowers, as you can see, especially as they've all come up, how many I actually do have compared to last video where they were only just starting out. So you can also see that a lot of the Sarracenia have also started producing their pictures, and those with and without flowers all have pictures now, and obviously some at different heights. So got some that started up. This is one of my newest leucophilas, which is a Sarracenia leucophila dark red. It's got a nice trap developing. Some of them do have multiple traps, so this one's got 2 traps here. My Aureophylla Sand Mountain has got a nice large trap, so last year I only did get to about the height it is now, but that will hopefully continue growing. And you can just see, if you just scan over all the pots, that you can see loads of different pictures coming up. So I'm going to be quite excited about my Brooks Hybrid this year, because last year it was quite a small little picture that it had on it. Obviously these are very tall plants, and this year it's got a really nice thick leaf, so hopefully the trap will be very tall and really nice and mature. So similar to my Asian Slack's Maxima, last year it got up to 63 centimetres, and again this is a very tall cultivar as well, and hopefully will be really large due to the base it started coming out with and the flower stalk. If you look at that flower stalk, it is massively thick compared to all the others. So I'm really excited for that plant in particular this year. Obviously as it's flowering the pictures might be a bit shorter than without the flower, but this is the first year it's flowered and I really wanted that last year, so I'm glad to have that as a one that I will be able to cross. So I don't have many new pictures actually open. I would say the furthest developed is the Sarracenia purpurea, and you can see that last year's growth is really dark, and the 2 new pictures it's got obviously are a lot lighter, and we'll have a little bit of coloration within the traps rather than the all dark coloration of the older ones. So another one that's quite far developed is my Sarracenia flava pendicanti. So this one's quite a common Sarracenia, however you can see here it's got loads of traps. It had quite a few last year, but so far I think I've counted 17, and although none of them are open, there is obviously this one main trap, and then all these others have come from the divisions of the rhizome, and I haven't separated this one yet. I haven't even repotted it since I think I've brought it either. But you can see that it's also got a flower, and it hasn't affected the growth at all. So that was going to be a really cool one with loads of different traps on this year. So the 2 pictures that I do have are both from last year. So this is my Leucophila tarnock, which is the double flowered form. So it hasn't flowered this year, but I did buy a more mature rhizome, but it was still quite small, so it hasn't produced any flowers this year, but hopefully next year it will. And my Sarracenia Leucophila Baldwin Giant also is the same picture from last year. So you can see it's only just started dying off now, and I'm surprised how long it's lasted and how good it looks. But obviously eventually they will be cut off once it has been replaced with a new fresher picture. So on the end of this tray I have some peat-free trials, and this is something that I've newly started experimenting with. So these have only been potted up for 2 weeks now, and I will put a picture over the top if I can find it. But I did various mixtures, so each label kind of shows what the mixtures is. Some of them I haven't properly labelled up, or they are just the same as the one next to them. So with the Sarracenias I've got some that are just in 100% bark, and some that are in a mixture of like bark, peat and perlite. Some that are also just like bark and perlite as well. So I've done different mixes, So we've got some Venus flytraps, got multiple genus in here like Drosera and Sarracenia. So I also trialled temperate Drosera, so with these I just did one of each. So I would say the only notable differences of the trials so far is that some of the pictures have continued growing, so a lot of them have not been affected at all, and there is no really difference in the growth so far. The only plant I would say has probably been affected was this Drosera, and that's the Dictoma one. But the leaf that was on it did die off, which you can see here. However, I did just notice that there is another leaf coming here, so it hasn't properly died off, so maybe that's just an adjustment, or maybe it was just because of me repotting it, and it had quite a small root system as it is, because they were very just small divisions that I plucked out from another pot. But this one over here had no leaves originally, or just had like a similar leaf to this, and has now fully opened and looks really nice and dewy. The flytraps have started developing new leaves, but they've come out a lot lighter than normal Venus flytrap leaves have started coming out as, so I don't know if that's a response, but obviously time will tell whether there will be a really differed kind of growth in using bark. But I also did a temperate Pinguicula grandiflora as well. But mainly loads of seedlings, all my Leucophila crossmorii seedlings, because I've got so many of them I've been using for the trials, and I did more of these, so as you can see all 9 of these at the front, well there's a few in here as well, are all part of the bark trials as well. So hopefully this will be something that I'll be able to update each month in the greenhouse tour as well, to show the difference between obviously growing in the bark compared to those that are currently grown in peat. So I'll show my bog planters now. So this is my bunny bog, and it has definitely picked up a lot than the last month, and all the new growth on it is starting to look really good, and you can start to see the first signs of the really nice deep coloration that this typical flytrap produces. And I've only just noticed the second flower stalks have already started coming as well, so this is another great sign, because they flowered obviously last year and they have done for many years now, because they are, well, I've had them for 8 years, but obviously they were older than that when I got them. And then there was a little one at the back, which I don't know if it's, no, it hasn't got a flower stalk on it yet, but again has started to come back quite nicely and got a better shape to them than me repotting them and bringing them up from the soil. So this is the Sundew Cottage, which is starting to look really nice as well, as all the Drosera come back. Unfortunately this Capensis did have an infection of aphids, yet I have now taken them all off, and hopefully it will start to recover in growth in no time. So yeah, a couple of the Drosera have started to get aphids, which I have a problem with most years, but at the moment I'm just trying to keep on top of it by simply picking them off the plant before using any other kind of control measures. But you can see all the Drosera starting to come up from around the hill, and we've got a few pygmy sundews at the bottom here, which are looking quite nice. And then around the back of the hill as well, I've got a few others that have started to come back. So I've got some Spatulata and some Aliciae dotted around, which have started to come back from the dying growth from before. And you can see here there's a Pinguicula weezer, which was just a single leaf that I picked off a plant, put in here, and it came back. So this has been in here all winter, so I'm very surprised about the growth. But I think it would look really nice if I had a hill specifically for Pinguicula, because it would make a really nice display, and they'll have a really nice colour, especially if I use some smaller varieties as well. So this tray, which is mainly full of Venus flytraps and sundews, is looking really great now. So I've moved all the pygmy sundews out here, and I've just got these small pots at the front here which have been under my propagator, and you can see the colour difference already between the older traps and the newer traps, which have got a more red coloration to them, due to obviously how much light that I do get in the greenhouse. So they're looking quite nice and a bit more distinguishable being out here. And then the rest of the larger ones are also out. So you can see how some of them are starting to get really nice dew, and they're looking a lot bigger than they did before. So I've got some Palacea here, which is one of my new ones. Some Platystigma, which did start declining for a while, and I was quite worried because this is one that I was really excited for, and it's all come up. I've got a pot of Occidentalis as well, which has got some really nice rich burgundy colour with its little straggly leaves that you can see. They're very thin leaves, but nice plant, so it's a bit unique, this one as well. So got some more Manio Crossamissa, because last month there was just that single one, and they've now slowly started to catch up the ones that are also in this pot. But they've got some really nice coloration. The Rosanna is a really, really nice one, always so full of dew, and really nice red coloration as well. So I've got a couple of nice pots of that are full of them. Same with like the Pulchella Crossnisuda, has got really nice vibrant coloration on it as well, and I've got several pots of that. And obviously my favourite pygmy sundew, which is the Scorpioides, and I've got several pots of this as well. Again, as you can see, the little ones as well, which have started to catch up with the adults now. And these pots will be really nice and really full, and they're all really nice and dewy, so they're looking amazing. And obviously I've got a bigger pot which I'll show in a sec, which is currently in flower. So I've placed all of my smaller pots of Drosera here in the middle against the pygmy sundews, and then the flytraps over there. And all these smaller pots have got some really nice little gems in them. So my newest Drosera intermedia, which I got to complete my collection of the British native sundews. So I've got my rotundifolia, which is looking lovely with all the dew, similar to the Anglica, which are both these pots are Anglica, and the intermedia. So just got some just random pots in here really. So I've got a few odd capensis, some crosses that I did last year, which you can see I've got spatulata cross Aliciae, capensis cross Aliciae, which have yet to be potted up, and really yet to see any like significance between the two plants. At the moment they're looking rather like capensis, and these are looking more like Aliciae as well. But obviously when they grow up, hopefully there will be some different. I've done a couple of crosses before, but I've never kind of stuck with them long enough to let them grow. I usually let them die off really. So this is my biggest pot of Scorpioides, and you can see all the flowers will hopefully be opening any day now, which are looking lovely. I love the full pot of Scorpioides because just how vibrant and lovely that dew is, with the long tentacles that they've got on the ends of their leaves, and even obviously big enough to catch a fly, which you can see here. So I've got a few odd Drosera, so a couple of rescues that I've got here. So this is a pot of Aliciae and a Drosera alba. When I got this Drosera capensis alba, it was extremely dry and all the leaves are shriveled, yet just a couple of weeks in the greenhouse and it is looking amazing and really vibrant. So they are just common. I don't usually do many rescues from garden centres anymore, but I kind of had to because they were very healthy plants. They were just extremely underwatered, so I decided to get them, and they're doing really well. My Bonata Vardictoma are looking amazing right now, so got some really nice rich burgundy kind of leaves, and you can see here the leaves are full of dew and they've got that really nice shape to them as well, which I've got a couple of pots of those and another smaller pot here. So over here I've got an odd Pinguicula grandiflora which is flowering, and the flowers are really nice. This is the first time that they've flowered. These ones I've had for 2 years, and originally I got them from Gamier, so this is the first year flowering, and this is the kind of effect that I wanted in my bog barrels, which I mentioned in a previous video. Having all of those outside having the same kind of coloration at the front of that pot would look amazing, so hopefully eventually they will all flower as they're all the same age. Now on to fly traps. So my newest fly trap was this Microdent, which is lovely. There's 4 plants clustered together in here, and it's started to get some really nice red, like reddy peach kind of coloration, but it's got some really nice fine teeth, so I'm really happy with this purchase, and is a really nice plant. So a lot of my other ones have started to come out, so there's nothing really significant on the fly traps yet, but you can kind of see where the new growth is forming. So I've got my Beastie Boy, which is looking great with the really nice thick petioles as well, so hopefully the traps on that will be especially large. So you could kind of just, if I just scroll through or scan through the multiple growth, so my DCXL hopefully will produce some really nice large traps as well, but the growth at the moment is just kind of very clustered and near to the rhizome, so not many of them have spread out. This Darwin's done a little bit more growth because it only had a couple of traps. This pot is filled with Drosera spatulata, where again I didn't cut off the flower stalks and they just spread like weeds. My red piranha is doing really well and starting to get some nice deep coloured traps. The same with my red dragon here, and a lot of them, as you can see, are starting to flower as well. So I have got another tray which is kind of dedicated to little bits and bobs. So here I have moved all of my Pinguicula grandiflora, which is the main thing I'll be focusing on in this tray, but that is my third like bird bog, which I'm thinking about just taking the plants out of it, because even though it was a nice little creation and obviously the pergola in there is looking quite nice, I will probably use it for a different bog planter idea that I've got, rather than keeping this, as the moss has just kind of grown over and kind of lost the really beauty of what it was before. And as you can see, I've started pulling out moss, which I've used for other pots and my bog barrels. But you can see some advancement on the Pinguicula grandiflora from Gamier. So some of them are starting to grow really well, and you can see also the larger ones in here are also starting to flower, which I'm hoping the ones outside will eventually catch up to as well, including this big tray here. So I thought I'd just briefly show the Sarracenia Leucophila cross Morii seedlings. So as you can see, all the pictures have started coming up and they're looking really nice. So despite all the old pictures that they've got on there, you can see all the way from the far side down there, all across here in these 3 trays, I have got multiple traps coming on them. So they're looking really nice, and hopefully this year they'll be a lot taller and have some nice coloration on them, so I can start picking out those that I want to keep. So that was a rundown of what the greenhouse currently looks like in April. So a lot of stuff has advanced. As you can see, all the Drosera are looking a lot more fuller. I absolutely love the Drosera at this kind of time of year because of just how dewy they are. So all the new leaves are just sparkling really. It's really nice, especially when you have a nice sunny day, that it just kind of like really nice and glows in here. So absolutely amazing. I'm hoping to collect a lot more Drosera this year as well. So I better start freeing up some space. But you can see that obviously all the Sarracenia flowers will be coming out very soon, so especially by next month's greenhouse tour there'll be so much more to show, and hopefully even having the first few pictures on the Sarracenia, which will look absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video.